Welcome, I'm Waseem Irshad. The purpose of the program is to share with you about our recent conference organized at the University of Central Punjab on the 6th and 7th of February 2020. I have respectable, worthy guests with me, Dr. David, Dr. Huma Khan, and Dr. Athar Azeem. So we'll start with Dr. David. So Dr. David, tell us about yourself.
I'm David Rooney. I'm Professor of Management and Organisation Studies at Macquarie Business School at Macquarie University in Sydney, Australia. My areas of expertise are in knowledge economies and also wisdom and wisdom development. And with wisdom and wisdom development, I'm particularly interested in how it applies to leadership. And in the context of this conference, which looks at responsibility and sustainability in business, then that's a directly relevant issue for this conference. Outside of academia, I'm a marathon runner.
Oh, that's good.
And I make guitars.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Huma Khan, tell us about the audience about yourself.
My name is Huma Khan, and I have done my doctorate in business administration from Geneva, Switzerland. And before that, I have done my master's in management sciences. Currently here, I am assistant professor and I teach management related subjects. I was fortunate enough to have experience of teaching in European universities as well. So my research area is mainly about organizational behavior, employee psychology, and currently I'm very much into emotional intelligence and psychological capital. And I'm also part of the conference. And
thank you. Professor Dr. Athar Azeem, tell us about yourself.
I'm working here as Associate Dean in the UCP Business School. I'm associated with this university for last 18 years almost, I would say. My PhD is in microfinance, so I have interest in finance and investments. I'm also a professional cost and management accountant. So these are my areas of, I would say, some expertise and areas of my interest. And I'm also a part of this 6th ICIBM, the conference on International Conference on Contemporary Issues in Business Management. I am the co-chair of this conference.
Well, that's lovely. That's great. So, Dr. David, you flew 20 hours. You had a 20 hours flight from Macquarie University, Australia, till Dubai and then Lahore and UCP, and you attended this international conference in contemporary issues in business management. Was it worth it?
Oh yes, it was definitely worth it. I've had a fabulous time here. I think the conference has been very good, and I think it's provided great opportunities for, particularly for young emerging researchers here in Lahore and from elsewhere in Pakistan, to come and share their ideas and refine their research, and also to interact with experienced older researchers who can provide a lot of guidance. And it's for someone at my stage of career, it's very rewarding to be able to be part of that. And of course the topic, responsible and sustainable business, is of the highest importance and globally. And to be part of that and part of joining that conversation globally to bring about change, and I guess a lot of people in Pakistan are aware of the bushfires in Australia and the links between that and climate change. So and it was definitely worth it.
Yeah, thank you. Well, our condolences for the bushfire and all the loss over there, especially human loss is very important. The loss of animals and the rare species, that was too catastrophic.
It was.
So, coming to Dr. Huma Khan. So Dr. Huma, tell us about the students and the research in the students. How is it and how can we improve it if we require to?
I would say we certainly require this. It is time that we are part of developing countries, but as far as I have observed, that all the developed countries that I have stayed in, I have seen their research and literature is too good. Even if their studies are not they are not attending college or universities, but their love for literature is really wonderful. I feel that this is a high time that we need to encourage literature and research in Pakistan, and for doing this, as there are many ways, but as far as I have observed, I think little encouragement is needed, because in Pakistan, I remember when I was doing my MS and I had to defend my thesis, it was more of atmosphere of like grilling. So there are like 20 people and they kept on asking such difficult questions. So students, they usually run away from such culture. So if we really want to encourage students, we have to somewhere, for example, this conference is a big example, a really positive example of encouraging students for research. I remember few of my students, they came to me and they said, we have decided not to participate in the this conference because going in front of session chair and moderator, we have heard a lot, it's going to be very difficult for us. And I was surprised because few of them are very mature. And after I encouraged them, one of them received yesterday best paper award, and he was so happy. And yes, and he decided that he is going to continue. I think the publications and such encouragement awards are somewhere we get addicted to this thing. So such kind of conferences and encouragement is required.
Okay, well, Dr. Athar, I've heard the conference has been a great success. It has 170 presenters. So we'd like to hear behind the scenes.
Oh, thank you, Waseem. We actually did not have a lot of time to prepare for this conference, truly speaking, because of certain things that happened earlier. But our team members, you are also part of that team. We worked a lot, I would say days and nights, and we prepared for this conference, and ultimately we had a very good number of presenters and also participants in this conference. So a lot went behind the scenes. Maybe we'll make a documentary what happened and how our team members worked to be ready for this conference on 6th of for the inaugural opening session, and we had a wonderful session. We're lucky that the Chairman of Punjab Higher Education Commission was Dr. Fazal Ahmed was the chief guest. We had keynote speakers and wonderful talks. They gave the opening sessions, and then we started our regular sessions, and which are going on very well.
Okay, we're hoping to see you in the next conference.
Inshallah.
Okay, coming to Dr. Huma Khan, can you tell our audience about the student-teacher relationship? How can we explain what it is, all things regarding this?
I think if you want good students, or if you want students who can give you, who have the power of deductive reasoning, or you can contribute some innovation, you need to provide them good teachers. And student-teacher relationship, a healthy relationship is the key. I know that in Pakistan, I'm not talking particularly about UCP. I think we are very lucky that in UCP we usually don't have such culture. But in Pakistan, I have seen that teacher and student have a very, I believe that there should be mutual respect, and little distance or limitations are required. But sometimes I think that the distance is too much. Students are too much scared to open up about their problems in front of teacher or to ask questions. So I think, I know when I was in Pakistan, I was a good student, I was performing well, I was on scholarship. But when I went in Europe, and my teachers, there were few teachers who were having experience of 50 years, and I was even too scared to sit next to them, that was 70 something, and asking them question was like. And then there were few teachers who were head of European Pepsi or Coke, or they were our teacher, and for me asking them question was like, oh, thank you for coming sir, thank you for. So it was too much formal. And the day they give me confidence that just go and you can make mistake, and this is the place, universities are place where you can mistake and we can rectify, verify you, and this is the place where you are here for learning. No one is seeking you to be perfect. I think this kind of culture where they push you and give you confidence. And I remember we were students from 17 countries there, and I end up getting top position in entire Europe. And it was such a pleasure receiving a presidential award from the president of Switzerland and receiving such encouragement. And that was the point where I decided I'm never going to stop learning. I will study and I will learn as much as it's possible. So I think that teacher student, we need to give them relationship of colleagues. We need to develop this colleague culture, so and friendly culture, of course, with certain limitation and mutual respect.
Okay, so we are very fortunate to have you today with us.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Dr. David, we were discussing that you have been in Pakistan a couple of times.
Yes.
Yes. So, what do you see in Pakistan, Pakistani students? Have you seen the culture and the students? Tell us about what.
Yeah. Okay. So it is my second trip here, and I guess if I look at the students presenting at the conference yesterday and today, you know, a lot of what you see, you would see in a similar conference anywhere in the world, because you know, as a PhD student, you know, you're full of uncertainty. You're still not clear what the rules of the game are and how you should present, and you know, you're probably very nervous before you come up on the stage. So I see all of that pretty much everywhere, including even in my own PhD students when they present. What I also see is there's an incredible appetite in the students to deal with really important and really interesting problems, and to find important questions that they can ask about those problems. And I think I was actually really impressed with one of the papers that I watched this morning, and it was talking about spirituality in the workplace, and that the discussion was in a sense ecumenical. It wasn't exclusive of one religion or another religion, and in fact part of the discussion afterwards was, well, you know, spirituality isn't only exclusively the property of religious people.
Yeah.
So I was really pleased to see that kind of discussion going on, and that shows a kind of intellectual openness that the global academic community is struggling to keep at the moment. So I think that's really important. But for the students who want to look at more kind of applied problems that are to do with, say, specifically the Pakistan economy, I think the challenge for them is to get beyond just wanting to solve that problem, and that the solution is sort of the end game, to lift it up another level and say, well, we have these problems in Pakistan. They're important and difficult problems, but in solving them, what we can also do is contribute to the global knowledge base, and in particular to the kind of theoretical constructs that we need to explain what problems actually are, as opposed to what people think they are, and then to predict what will happen if we make change A versus change B. So I think that's a problem in a lot of countries that young researchers face, and even experienced researchers face. So unless they come from the UK, Europe and North America, that becomes a real problem. How do we take these local problems and then not just fix the problem locally, but how do we then elevate what we've done to make a global contribution to the knowledge?
So what about the cultural aspects?
Yeah, well, that's really interesting, and you know, when I have many years experience teaching in Australia, and you know, we teach students from everywhere in the world, and so students who come from collectivist cultures have particular challenges that they need to face up to when they go to a Western developed economy university, and so they have to first of all get used to not calling me Dr. David or Professor David or Sir, but just David. So there's a closer relationship that that teachers and students have in Western universities. It's a it's the idea of
Dr. Huma
as being colleagues. So we actually, PhD students are considered to be members of the faculty because they're doing important research, and so they become colleagues with people who have been teaching in university for 30 or 40 years. So that's one particular problem that I think students from Pakistan are going to face as they go out into the broader academic world and research world. One of the really interesting questions, and this is a very important research question, so one of the presentations this morning was on entrepreneurship in young people here in Pakistan, and several years ago I had a master's student who did a thesis on entrepreneurship amongst graduates, university graduates in Bangladesh. And of course all the normal things that we would think are barriers, like lack of venture capital and government policy settings not being quite right and so on and so forth, they're all issues everywhere. But what was really an issue, and which is not accounted for in standard entrepreneurship theory, which is mostly developed in the United States, where they have a highly individualistic culture, is what is the role of family and the complex family structures that exist in collectivist societies, and how do we? Because it's a risk-averse culture.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, Dr. Athar Azeem, as you are the Associate Dean of UCP Business School, so our audience would like to know about UCP Business School.
Oh, sure. UCP Business School, I think, is in Pakistan. If you look at it from the local perspective, it is one of the finest schools in terms of the teaching quality, in terms of the facilities that we have, in terms of the placement of our students. We try to innovate. We try to include courses which are more needed in terms to be more compatible with the world, with the advanced world, and because now we can always have access to the material. We know what is happening in the world, so we are in a better position to prepare our students to compete with those from one of the finest universities of the world. That's what we try. We try to innovate. We try to use those teaching methods which will improve not only their knowledge, their skills, but their capability to apply that knowledge and to be more successful in their practical life. We're also very keen to promote research, and this conference is a part of that. We have many MS students who are doing research. Some MBA students are also doing research. Particularly, we have 2 PhDs in business administration and also in accounting and finance. So I would say overall this school is doing very well and we are moving forward.
In the end, I'd like our worthy guests to conclude the session. So I come to David, and I'll not say Dr. David. Yeah.
Yes, thanks, Waseem. Yes, look, the conference was a very great success. It's a great platform for young researchers to begin to find their feet in the world, and I hope it continues for a long time, and I hope it continues to expand and its reach globally, and have people from more countries come and attend.
I agree with Dr. David that it was a huge success, and I'm looking forward for more research conferences from UCP.
Dr. Athar Azeem?
It was a humble effort, and I'm thankful to all the team, the faculty members who contributed, the session chairs, the participants, the presenters, and I hope that inshallah in the future we'll be able to hold more such conferences.
That was all from our side. Thank you very much for watching.